is it, right? EJ Boxing Live here. The judge. Ring round one is about to start between Raphael Dawkins and Fight Doctor. They might agree, they might not. You in the chat can see whatever. First and foremost, fight Raphael Dawkins. Give us your take on obviously you've seen the documentary, hopefully you've seen the documentary. But if you haven't, you've just seen the clip. Do you still stand by? I remember this video is, should Tyson Fury and Joshua fight happen after seeing the Panorama documentary? Go ahead.
Yeah, it should go ahead. I think it should go ahead. But MTK, do MTK have to be involved? If the money is coming from the nefarious sources, then is that money acceptable money? Is that drug money? Are we experiencing some money laundering? Is that what's going on? So MTK, maybe they want to take a back seat, step aside to allow this fight to go on untainted.
Fight Doctor, go ahead.
Well, like I've said many times, the business of boxing is very dirty, and this just basically reinforces that point. But listen, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, the fight that's a big fight. Arguably the biggest fight that can be made in boxing right now. The biggest money fight that can be made in boxing right now. So the question is, do they really need drug money to get big paydays? In my mind, no. Now, having said that, this documentary is not a good look for Tyson Fury at all. I mean, you're hugged up with the guy, and you got this huge drug dealer, alleged murderer. He has your cell phone number, and he's negotiating fight deals for you. That's really not a good look. And if I'm Anthony Joshua, and if I didn't, well, it's hard to believe that Anthony Joshua didn't know this beforehand. But I think now, it's like, okay, well, now everyone else is aware. So, yeah, if I'm Anthony Joshua, yeah, I'm thinking, this has got all kind of, I mean, there's just like this foul stench and these dark clouds that's over Tyson Fury's business right now. And, if I'm Anthony Joshua, do I want to participate in all of that? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So the answer is, at this point, I'm not too sure if Anthony Joshua, the fight is going to go ahead. The negotiation contract is going on. I'm not sure, should the fight go ahead. I know Anthony Joshua's family is very religious, Christian background. They have a lot of influence. So does Roman McCracken and definitely Eddie Hearn. If it's money, big pay, the biggest payday of your career for the undisputed, this is what you want, then you go ahead. But under these circumstances, first and foremost, I'll give you a scenario. Floyd Patterson was supposed to fight Sonny Liston. Now, everyone kind of knew the result was going to happen, that Sonny Liston would beat Floyd Patterson. But Sonny Liston had been what should I say, in collaboration, suspected collaboration with mobsters. So Floyd Patterson, right, in the first fight, which is before their first fight, said the reason why he will not have that fight with him until he sorts out his management, and then he'll have the fight. So if I'm AJ, I'm saying the same thing. YG Knight just coming way up, YG. Nice to have you over in a sec. And what happened is in the fight now going into it, Floyd Patterson was satisfied that the mob affiliation with Floyd Patterson, with Sonny Liston was gone. And then also the president as well said, America said she'd have to fight as well. So everyone wanted to see the fight. So the fight happened, and obviously we know what happened. Floyd Patterson got beat by Sonny Liston. But there was that situation with Sonny Liston that he was a mob affiliated. So there you are. YG Knight jumped in. YG Knight. What's up, YG? Nice to have you over. Long time. Unmute yourself, YG.
What's going on, EJ? What's going on, Ralphie? What's going on, Fight Doctor? What's going on, people?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised that Fight Doctor said that about him because you can't to get to the level.
Oh no, Waggy, 1 second. Have you seen the documentary?
No, I didn't watch the documentary.
Well, you was watching my clips right on the screen, yeah?
Yeah, I was watching that part.
All right, go ahead.
But I was listening to what y'all was saying, but my whole premise of it is you can't really name a promoter or even really those executives that's really at the top that don't know a guy the way Fight Doctor was describing. All of those guys know a guy that's just the way it is. You don't get to that level without meeting one of those guys. You can name, if you're gonna start doing that, you're gonna start pulling athletes because they know a guy like that's like, and that shouldn't even bother Joshua anyway. Whatever Fury got going on in his camp, as long as it ain't the legal glove thing and it's something tainted going on, he ain't need to be worried about that. All he need to be worried about is what he gonna do in the ring and complete his dream of being undisputed. All of that, who Fury be talking to and all of that, that's hogwash, man. Like, you just get that fight signed and let's have the fight happen. And I don't even know why we even having that discussion, but I guess that's just extra news sometimes they throw out there to keep talking about the fighters, but that's just silliness of what's going on outside the ring.
So you don't believe that you know, I don't think, because obviously you haven't seen the documentary. Do you know how serious they're not? That's a normal thing. They're a cartel, you know that, right? Like in Mexico, they're actually a cartel. You know that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that too, but the guy that just owned that the Russian that just owned the Nets, he was part of the Russian, what you call it too. Like, I would like, that's what I was just saying. You can't really name somebody that's up with millions of dollars that haven't come across a guy or knows a guy that's involved in that business. Like, that's just how it is. I don't want to start naming people what you call it, but we all know like there's plenty of street guys that's in all of the elements, like that's in football.
No, let's stick to the boxing, right? So in boxing, I pointed out, Floyd Patterson wouldn't fight Sonny Liston until he got rid of his mob affiliations. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is that, don't you think in these circumstances, in bearing the biggest fight in history, there might be some influence on the other side to concede? I'm just saying, and this is speculation, to concede to lose the fight to the other guy because he's been influenced. That's what we're talking about.
But you know, I see on that point too. I seen the Sonny Liston special, and you know they got that on Showtime. I know you're on what you call, but if you could go check that out. That a big part of that Sonny listening and Floyd Patterson fighting that happened is because Customato didn't want them to fight because he knew that Sonny listening was going to smash him. Like, that was just a ploy to throw it off like, oh, he's mob. Because even back then, the mob had an even bigger control into boxing than they do now. So that was just one of the ploys, even though we're not in that time. But that was just one of the ploys of them not making the fight. And I think this being thrown out there is also probably an excuse for Joshua not to take this fight because he's going to get smashed anyway if he fights Fury. But I guess that's going to be a topic for another day.
I know,
but he's going to get smashed. Like y'all think about that fight. Like, if you think about it, like he's going to like I see that already. Fury's going, what you call it, and then the talk too. That is true too. The talking of getting into your head and stuff. Cause there's one thing that I think about too. Look how Big Baby was getting in his head. I had him doing stuff that he don't normally do on that in that conference. And Tyson Fury and him been going back and forth. And he never really won that fight from the beginning. That's why even when Fury was out of shape, his biggest comeback to Fury when Fury was calling him out was come down some stones. Like he don't really want that fight, but we're gonna see if it's gonna happen.
Okay, all right. Well, that's why good take. Fight.
If you don't want the fight, why is he making the offers? If Joshua don't want the fight, why is he making offers?
These boxers, we see them do that all the time. Put out offers, and they come on. We like that's another one of their ploys too. What I noticed. They put out these statements and they say stuff just to keep their name buzzing like that. Like it took me a couple years to really see that they be doing that. But like my eyes are open to that now. Until I really see the contracts and they start setting the date for the press conferences. To me, it's just going in one ear and out the other because it's all talk. They say one thing and
so
then
Joshua made offers to keep his Fury to keep his name buzzing. Is that what you're saying?
Because wasn't just a minute ago he was just talking about, oh, I might give up the titles, but before that he was saying I'm doing this for the undisputed. When they both were saying one man, one face, all titles, and then he was talking about giving up the like if you got to catch something with these guys, like sometimes they make statements and depending on how they feel for that day, and then there's some days where they don't even make statements.
Said he might give up. Said he might give up the titles to fight Fury if the governing bodies act as a hindrance.
I know he said that one day, and then there was another day before that he was saying that he wanted to be undisputed. His dream is to be undisputed.
So okay, cool.
Right.
Carry
so
on.
like
Next
that's what
person.
like that's what I'm saying. Like with these boxes, it's not just Joshua. That's all these boxes up and down the rankings. They say one thing one day depending on how they feel, and then they say something else the next day. That's why I be like, yo, until I see them make the whole enchilada, like the press conferences and all that down, then I start getting excited about it because it's like a merry-go-round.
All right, so let me intervene before Dan the man come in. All right, so this is a comment put out by my man. It's just a good comment as well. The BBC is a corporation that covers up, numbers of, anyway, for years, that's the BBC, right? So it's on the screen. I'm not gonna say, you know what I'm saying. People mess with young kids and stuff like that. Rafi, obviously, we're in the UK. What's your take on that, Rafi?
About the BBC covering up.
Cover it up, fiddling with kids.
What's that got to do with boxing?
No, he's trying to say that the BBC is corrupt. I think he's trying to point out that the reason why they've done this documentary to
the facts are out there, are they not? The cases are out there. Ireland want him. There's some stuff still outstanding in Spain. They want to talk to him. Ireland is trying to get him extradited. Those are facts.
All right, there you go. Hey, Dan the man, jump in. If you ain't seen the documentary, Dan, I played it on my channel. I've just played the highlights.
Yeah,
you watch it, right?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's going on, y'all? It's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. Hey,
what's going on, Dan?
What's going on, Dan, man? What's going on, Dan? Yeah,
not much, man. Just a busy life, man. Just a busy life. That's all. But yeah, I wanted to chime in on this a little bit because this is a very interesting topic. So I did watch the documentary. I got finished watching it, and I am intrigued to say at least. And I know some of the comments are coming in. Some people are now trying to discredit the BBC because they're bringing up the old Jimmy Savile situation. I know nobody really want to talk about that, but look, anything to discredit the BBC and their, reluctant, their unwillingness to kind of fairly cover the Palestine and the Israeli conflict. All those things are being brought up. I get it. All right, I understand that, but the fact is that those situations have nothing to do with the documentary that we just seen. Okay, so and nice try to those who try to discredit the documentary. Now, we all knew this about Daniel Kinahan for a long time now. Now, the fact is, to the extent of what we knew, I think we didn't know until we just seen the documentary. Now, I didn't know that the MTK Global expanded their operations to the U.S. in an attempt to to continue the money laundering scheme to cover up what's really happening behind the scene, which is their drug operation. So I did not know that's what they're doing. And furthermore, what I did not know, that Barry McGuigan, who was partaking in the documentary, he's so bitter. Well, you could say he's bitter, but there's a reason why he's upset, because he said out of nowhere, all my key fighters just wanted to leave me. Why? Because Carl Frampton, who testified against him to get out of his contract for no reason whatsoever, admitted that he wanted to get out of his contract because he doesn't get charged a percentage by his management team, opposed to Barry McGuigan, which to me is kind of bizarre because that is the norm. That's how promoters and managers get paid by their fighters, by taking a percentage out of their purses. That's how they fund their operations. That's how they keep things afloat. So it makes me wonder: is MTK? I'm not saying MTK Global. Leads me to believe that they're actually bringing on fighters without charging them a fee, which is kind of suspicious to me. That's very suspicious.
But now, I get that though, but he's crying about something that most fighters should appreciate. When they broke down the numbers of how much the other brother was already in the pocket for 25%, then you give up to 10% for your trainers, and then after that, if you take out your legal fees and your taxes, how much are you really left with? So
well, yeah, I see what you're saying, YG. Here's the thing.
Get that. Like if he's already hold on, let me just make this one point
okay,
though.
Okay.
So if the man is already up, right? He already up, and then he certain fighters like Frandis, like I think didn't they say earlier that he's godfather to one of their kids.
Well, look. Here's the thing. I probably would not. I mean, I still would raise some concerns and question about the fact that you're not charging fighters fees. And although you're signing them and getting them biggest purses, I still find that suspicious. But what makes it more alarming, I should say, is that the fact that we know that money is not legit. It's being funded by racketeering and drug charges. Racketeering, drug trafficking, drug smuggling, you name it, man. That's not legit money. It's all dirty money. That's these fighters getting paid, including Tyson Fury, sadly to say.
So wait, hold on. What I'm trying to say is right. All right, so you saying that basically they taking the drug money and then they pay, and then they're throwing boxing events, and then they're using that money to pay the fighter, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's drug. No, he's talking about money laundering.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you're a management company and you're not taking a management fee, then what the hell's going on?
Exactly.
I can tell you what the hell's going on. I can tell you what the hell's going on.
But don't they get money off of the rest of the stuff? Like if they're hosting an event,
well, EJ, I mean, yeah, I get you, YG.
If you're a management company, you take a management fee.
Exactly.
If you're a management company and you are not taking a management fee, then that speaks for itself.
Right. That just raises alarm suspicion.
Yeah. And then above and beyond that, don't anyone think that these fighters are not being incentivized beyond the lack of a management fee to come and fight under their banner and keep their mouths shut? Trust, there's some extra going on. All right. Above and beyond just not receiving a management fee. Hold
on. But I get that point. What I'm getting lost at, right? Don't they, right? So basically, right? Don't they get the place where they're gonna throw the event, right? You get all of that signed. Then you get advertisers to come in, right? This is where they make their money. Because this is why I thought this was the whole big complaint with Bob Ho saying that I want to wait till this to a crowd so I can make my money or I'm losing. Because they make their money off of the advertisements and the seats.
I get that, but 20%, but 20% is a huge money. They're taking a loss, especially if you're representing a fighter. That's a huge amount of money you're talking about there. So why they're voluntarily giving that up is very, very suspicious. That's very odd.
Because you give that up to try to sign more fighters. I don't understand.
Well, those fighters. I mean, there's a drawback behind that. I get what you're saying, YG, but there's a drawback behind that. If you sign all these fighters and not taking the fee, there's a greater chance that many of those fighters are not going to make back the investment on the return that you put into them, especially if you're not taking the fee out of them. So that's a huge gamble that a management company like MTK Global is doing. A huge gamble. Let's say they sign 10 fighters, right? Let's say 50% of those fighters don't bring the money that the other fighters do. Where does that leave you as a company?
Yeah, but isn't that all depending on how you promote those fighters and where you put them now? As we was talking about the two fighters, the Frampton and the Furies, they're making a hefty return on those investments.
No, it's not going to call Frampton, not compared to Tyson Fury. Let's just say this though. Now, as far as I get one point of a little aspect of your point, but the other part is that sometimes it all relies on the fighters because some fighters sometimes have to sell themselves. The promotional team, the management team, can only do so much to promote their fighters. the fighters themselves got to kind of sell themselves to the public, or to the audience. They have to have charisma. They got to have personality. They got to have those things to sell fights, man. The management team management teams can only do so much. So again, it goes back to my point. Well, those other half of those fighters who doesn't have that personality, like a Tyson Fury or even a Billy Joe Saunders, and they don't bring in the resources and the revenue like those two guys do.
Yeah, but if you don't got
an accusation that was made in the documentary by Barry McGuigan was that how can this company, whilst the boxing world is going through a recession, how can this company be out there signing up X amount of fighters on a weekly basis?
I can answer that question.
Because they had the biggest fight of last year.
Now I can answer that question.
Carry on, Fight Doctor.
They didn't have the biggest fight of last year?
So
you talking about Wilder and Fury? I mean, you talking about the rematch? On paper it was.
What fight was bigger than that?
Are you being serious? Are you being serious?
Are you talking about financially?
Yeah, because and then think about it. If you break it down now, if you probably break down the numbers of the guys that they signed, how much money did they really have to pay those guys that they really signed? If you're signing people,
if they're not taking a management fee, off those guys, then they're paying a hell of a lot of money. Now the question that Barry McGuigan raised is where is this company getting so much money?
I can answer that question.
Where is the money coming from?
I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
There are certain businesses that are what are known as recession-proof, meaning despite how bad the world economy becomes, or any economy for that matter, there are certain things, certain businesses, certain commodities that you can have and sell that are guaranteed to make you money and that you will never be broke. There's just certain things that people are going to need and have to come and buy from you, regardless of what the economy says, right? Medication is one of those things. People are always going to be drugs. Drugs will always sell. The drug business is a recession-proof business. It does not matter how bad the economy. I'm sorry?
Are you talking about cough mixture?
Listen, this does not matter.
Nah, but
listen. I think there's a common misconception. I think that there's a common misconception that the biggest drug dealers are illegal drug dealers. No, no, sir. Johnson & Johnson. Who are some of the other pharmaceutical companies? You name them.
Smith & Klein?
Yeah. Those are the big drug dealers, okay? And right now, as the economies of the world tank, their pockets swell, okay? And if you don't believe me, I can prove it. COVID-19, what are they doing? They're shipping it all around the world, making millions upon millions of dollars while people are losing their jobs, losing their homes, losing their bank accounts.
Are you suggesting the MTK Global are involved in the legal drug sales?
That's what I'm saying. That like y'all way of premise, right? Because I can take two situations where they could have from last year where they could have recouped a decent amount of money from two fights and sign fighters. Like that's not a big. It's not like y'all making it sound like they just signed like 10 people to NFL contracts. Like, yo, where's this money come? Like they just gave out 52 million and 60 million and 100 million.
I think the biggest point. Fellas. Yeah, YG. The biggest point. The big way. Okay, I asked you to say the biggest argument, the biggest point that Rap and Barry McGuigan is making is that all the boxing promoters, all the biggest promoters out there, even Matchroom, Top Rank, PBC, even though we call it is a management brand, some of MTK Gold, well, those people are struggling right now because of the pandemic. Why is it that MTK Global are still running business as usual and while everybody else is
like I
struggling.
just said,
No,
That
it's accelerated.
like
It's
I
not
put
business.
on
It's
the
not business as usual. It's accelerated
they
business.
they put
so
in
okay,
the,
fair enough.
but hold on, and in all fairness too though, let's not act like right before that those companies that you name, I can name each of those companies. They had a fight where they paid one fighter big money. Eddie Hearn and them paid Mikey Garcia big money right before the pandemic.
Yeah, that's not my point. Well,
No,
YG, that's
but I'm
not my
just saying,
point.
no, but just no, hold on. I'm getting, I was getting to your point of that. Basically, MTK, what you call a Fury's company, they put on 2 big fights last year where they was able to recruit money and sign fight. Like, let's not act like I don't know about how you do it over there, but
Okay, wait, hold up. Are you saying they
business-
did this after the pandemic, post-pandemic? What fights did they recoup their money from post-pandemic?
post-pandemic was the Dubois and what you call a fight?
What, they made money off that fight? You sure?
They made that much money. They're plowing it. They're reinvesting. Is that what you're saying?
Why you? I mean, you gotta keep watering the grass. Even if well, I don't know.
You really do need to water the grass.
I don't
You
know.
need to have some strong light too.
Listen. I don't know how things run over there, but over here in America, when you sign new artists, that's just a tax write-off. So whatever they paid those guys, they paid the new guys that's coming up, and they invested in them. All of that stuff goes on the books, and 9 times out of 10, if they they don't probably take the management fees back, but they probably take back what they first gave the fighter to, like, the first down payment, help them move into a new place or whatever.
Well,
if they're really doing right by these fighters. Because
the Irish government too.
All right, because the way you're saying, do you know, is there X amount of dollars that you know for a fact that they gave these fighters?
Yeah.
Well, the Irish government. You see, hold on. You see, YG. Here's the situation. The Irish government want Kinahan. They want him on charges. Yeah.
Now don't forget the U.S. as well. We want him here too.
The U.S. want him too. Yeah, because there's a lawsuit against him over there. The U.S. want him, but the Irish government have been trying to get him back in Ireland for years. He won't leave. Where is he now? Bahrain?
Dubai.
Where is it? Dubai. The Spanish government, they questioned him for some killings, and they want to speak to him about money laundering. So the Irish government want him. The Spanish government want to speak to him about money laundering. In America, there's a lawsuit out against him for money laundering. But you say,
well, White Rappy, hold up. There's no such thing as a lawsuit against for money laundering. That's actually a federal offense. That's a criminal charge. So he's up for criminal charges here. Yeah.
Oh, he's up for criminal charges there. He's up for criminal charges. But you say, YG, you say the money he's invested was money he recouped from the Daniel Dubois fight.
Daniel Dubois fight? Was he involved in Daniel Dubois fight?
No, I was saying because is it
No. He's
it could be possible.
One minute, Dan. 1 minute. I got more evidence from this guy called Darragh G. So we're gonna watch some more evidence. Everyone take a break, take some water. So we're gonna watch my man Darragh G. Some evidence, yeah. All right. So you're gonna hear my man. Where is it? Finding a video. So everyone take a break, and we're gonna comment on this video right here. So you guys tell me what you think, and after that, Judge EJ in effect.
About a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Now, people, that disgusting piece of shit you're looking at right now, no, not me, L5, this dickhead, that is Daniel Kinahan. This is the dude that changed MGM gyms to MTK gyms because of violence in Spain. Now, if you look at this dickhead, I will smash his fucking teeth out on sight. Look at him. Yeah, look. There he is again. He looks like he's been out on the fucking coke all night, doesn't he? Little crack-smoking fat shithead. I will break every bone in this cunt's fucking face with me fists. I'll make a cunt of him. A complete show of him. And why not get that dickhead in there? Marvin. Hey, glass eye, shit stain. Why not let him ref while I punch his head in as well? Pair of fucking dickheads. The one in the red and the one in the blue. Total fucking rats. Poisonous bastards. The amount of people that Marvin has terrorised because they wouldn't join that boxing label is crazy. But it's not about that little homosexual individual, Marvin, the dickhead, bullet head. It's about this knobhead. That's right, that knobhead. This dickhead. You, Daniel Kinahan, I will punch your fucking head in. You're a big man, aren't you? With the money to do what you want. Get yourself to me. Get yourself to me and we'll get it on. Don't run out and go, get him killed, and send some crackhead from Liverpool to do it. Because they've tried. I'll punch your fucking head in. And when I see one of your workers that lives in Birmingham, I'm going to smash his fucking head in as soon as I see him. And I don't need no weapons. I don't need no knives. I'll pounce on him with this and I'll fucking destroy him. He's a fun boy that's gone wrong. I'm going to mess him up. Just for you, Danny, you shithead, evil piece of poisonous shit. You do not represent any Irishman. None of them. L5 Alive, people, do me a favour. Share that. Let it be fucking known I'm calling this fat prick out who does throw young boxers over balconies in Spain. That does get Jamie Moore shot in Spain. That does terrorise families in Ireland. The likes of the Framptons to jump on board their fighting label. L5 Alive, choose a life, not a knife. Take his jaw off.
That's enough. There you go. Evidence. All right. Evidence right there. From Daniel G. What's your guys' take?
This is one of them.
That's evidence. That's evidence that the man is psychotic. That's the only evidence. That's the only evidence.
Yeah, EJ, I surprised you.
He's a gangster, isn't he? And they know about him, innit? So, and is he telling lies about young boxers getting thrown off balconies? Is he lying about JB Moore getting shot?
Well, he's obviously some of what he says, truth in some of what he says. Yeah, but you know.
Okay, there you go. So he's not lying, is it? All right. So now that's evidence.
He's lying about some things. He's lying about some things. All
I know is he doesn't like the guy for what he's doing, and he's a former gangster guy from in Liverpool who changed his life around, and he doesn't like what this guy is doing. Now, YG was arguing about the money being invested. Now, YG, you've just heard, what the money is being invested in. The young boxers being thrown off balconies. JB Moore
getting shot in broad daylight too.
Yeah, go ahead, YG.
I mean, those are incidents when the person don't want to sign. I thought we were talking about what happens when the guys do sign.
No, they were one minute, Dan. JB Moore was actually a friend. Is a friend of MT Global. He was in a surrounding in Spain where these guys come to assassinate Danny Kinahan, and he wasn't there. They thought JB Moore, a boxer, right, was him, and they were trying to kill him, but when they realized it was him,
that was in Kinahan's house.
There you go. All right. So when they found out it wasn't him, they let him alive, but they come to kill him. So what we're saying, YG, if you're affiliated with him, there's people actually trying to kill the guy. So if you're involved in that, certain things happen. Also, YG, there was a shooting in Ireland at a weigh-in, a boxing weigh-in, a professional weigh-in, where basically these people burst into the place and started shooting people up. People, I think 2 people got killed. So what we're saying, YG, is that these people, right, you're just doing a boxing thing, and then you don't even know who could come through the door to assassinate him. So you go ahead, YG.
No, and I hear what y'all saying. I said that too. That like this basically. I know y'all know that when Bob Arum and Don King was talking like that they both did the same thing. Like they sent somebody to kill the other person. Like that. Like this is nothing new. Like that shit, violence and like that shit is all wrapped in.
What did Don King? Tell me what Don King or any shooting involved? Where's shooting it away in actual public weigh-in? When did that happen?
When they I forgot when they had that special when they was talking about it, and one of them said that the other person sent the person to kill him. I don't know. Did Don King send somebody?
Don King ain't got nothing. Don King was doing a racket called Numbers, yeah, and some guy owed him some money. And he got into a fight, and that guy got killed. That's the only thing he's ever did.
Nah,
I'm telling
you, that was. I'm gonna send you the what you call. I remember.
YG. So we're talking about currently, right now. Yeah, is that if you're affiliated with this guy or their organization, bad things happen. Now you were talking about investing the money. So the money, what we're trying to say, YG, they don't need you boxing money to do their thing. They got money. Apparently, this is what's the word when you say allegedly? Yeah, allegedly the money is coming from guns, drugs, and then they wash people's money. So if you got money which is illegal, they wash it and they pull it through the boxing. So you're talking about investment,
which is money laundering. That's illegal.
So, YG, so what we're saying is that they don't need money. They don't need money from the fighters. Anything, they give you money because they got so much of it. They're just gonna hand it out. So YG, you sign with them. They say they take 15%, but what Frampton said is like they didn't take anything from him. And how can you compete if you're a promoter like Barry McGuigan who had Carl Frampton and you had Josh Taylor from the amateurs? Remember again, who was Carl Frampton? Who was Josh Taylor before Barry McGuigan? Because Barry McGuigan, everyone knows who Barry McGuigan in Ireland, in England, in America. Everyone knows who Barry McGuigan is by what he did. He fought in America, fought in England, and fought in Ireland. Everyone knows who Barry McGuigan is, right? So Barry McGuigan says this guy's going to be the next Barry McGuigan. Everyone's going to pay interest. So Barry McGuigan thumbprinted Carl Frampton, Josh Taylor from the amateurs. He recruited from the amateurs, put a lot of money and investment into that point, and now he start getting his money back. All of a sudden, these guys have gone. Now, fair play, yeah. But one of the guys even had a contract, yeah, and actually got him. He didn't care. He got the phone call. And he said, "Look, I don't care what contract I got with you. I'm leaving." You know what I'm saying? So YG, you're talking investment. I'm talking about. We're saying no. The investment. There's no investment. This money's being laundered. Go ahead, YG. Okay, YG's on mute.
No, I was letting you finish. Which go, and I understand that part, but I was also saying that they made money in boxing too. No, but I get what y'all saying. That y'all saying that they're just washing money through boxing. Yeah. And I get that part because I was saying that because I was saying usually when these companies and that goes into the rap, to the music industry. And all and for football too, that's all write-off. Football, that's all write-offs. You sign these guys to these contracts, and then if it doesn't work out, that shit is a tax write-off. And like how y'all just said, basically, I get it, if y'all saying that they're giving them illegal money, and then if the fighter don't work out, they file the taxes, they wash the money. So
can I say something real quick?
What I'm trying to say is what industry can you look at that doesn't have funny money in it? That's just how the world is built.
Fair enough.
Let's not just stop now. Like Joshua and them need to make that fight happen. Back to the point that we was originally talking about. Yeah. Like the fight shouldn't stop happening. I mean, if y'all want to try to cut that guy out and say he can't be a part of the negotiations or any money transactions, that's
well, I think the reason why the Joshua and Fury thing is brought up because Daniel Kinahan is probably bankrolling this fight to happen. That's what this is all about. Big bulk of that money is coming from him. If he's cut out of it, then it's a possibility the fight's not going to get off. I know Eddie Hearn came out and said that now him being cut out of it should not affect the fight.
Yeah, because I was about to say how, because doesn't Tyson Fury still got Frank Warren and ESPN backing him.
Well, yeah, Frank Warren. Let's just think about it. Frank Warren, I believe, this is just my opinion, but it could make sense here. Frank Warren's being bankrolled by Kinahan. I believe that. All right, that's number one. Number two, we're talking about both fighters getting paid the sums of what, $100 million each, as allegedly is being reported. Mm-hmm. So if you take Kinahan out of the equation, how are you going to pay your fighters? How are they going to pay them?
Because I guess ESPN and
no, ESPN's not going to throw out that much money. They're not stupid.
Why not?
They're not doing that.
YG, we're in Corona special. We got Corona special going on, YG.
I hear what y'all saying, but right, we already know that wherever they're gonna place the fight at, I guess might have to move the location to a location where they can have a crowd if they cut that guy out, and then so if they do it overseas and they have a crowd, like you cut him out, whoever takes his place, you're just getting a bigger portion of YG, a fight that we know that fight is gonna do tons of money. Everybody's ordering.
YG, you're missing my point. I'm not talking about the crowd. I'm not talking about the location. I understand that's fine and dandy, as Mr. Boxing Today will say. But what I'm saying is that allegedly it's been reported that these fighters' purses is going to be enormous. Joshua and Fury is allegedly going to be paid out $100 million each. Right. So if you eliminate Kinahan out of the equation, which I believe he is the biggest financier for this fight, where are you going to get the money to pay to make up for the rest to fund this fight?
That's what I just said. ESPN. I just said ESPN and what you call it?
You really think ESPN is going to throw away $100 million just to pay one fighter for one fight?
Is that throwing away? If that's not going to be the biggest fight of 21?
Well, the problem is the fight is not being held in the States. That's number one. Number two, we're not talking about. Wait, hold up, YG. We're not talking about the demand on the level of Pacquiao Mayweather. That's not that type of fight. Yes, it's an undisputed heavyweight fight in 2 decades. I get that. But let's be honest here. Joshua, Fury, those guys are not on the star level of Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. That is a fact. They're not. Right.
So they're not they're not on that level, but they're still gonna make hundreds of millions. Like everybody's still gonna order that fight.
You really think ESPN is gonna fork out the rest of the money if Kinahan's cut out of the equation?
Why not? I don't get, but like you still. Well,
I'm not saying why not. You really? Yeah. No, I'm asking you. You really believe they will do that?
Because why not? That means they're going to get a bigger portion of the return money.
No, I can answer that question. Why not? I can answer that question. So it comes down to this, right? So for ESPN to make money on this fight, it would have to be pay-per-view. So now the question is, will ESPN be able to recoup whatever money that they would put up on this fight from Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua pay-per-view in America? Now, only one of those guys has been on pay-per-view in America, and he wasn't even the A side. So you have to ask yourself the question, does ESPN, do they think that bankrolling a $200 million fight, that they will be able to recoup that kind of money on a pay-per-view fight headlined by one guy who hasn't sold a single pay-per-view in America, and then the other guy who has been on pay-per-view in America, but he wasn't even the A side? So that's the question you have to ask.
No,
I think so.
Hey, you're a firm believer. You're a bold believer, YG. I'll give you
because
that.
I believe as of right now, that'll be the biggest fight, and everybody that's on the channel's ordering it.
Well, okay, Rob, what do you think, man? Let's get Rob his opinion.
All right, that's the first. Let's see who's not going to order it if they have the fight. Who's not ordering it on the call?
ESPN are not confident of recouping that money. No way, no how. Bob Arum has said of Daniel Kinahan, he's a great guy. He's a great and we can roughly translate that into meaning that, this guy's got the bag and he's spending it like a madman, so we love him. It's like you don't care about the money, he's just pouring it in. And the BBC, Panorama, the Irish journalists, newspapers, police from various different countries believe that that money is from the illegal trade of narcotics.
So with all that being said, you don't want to like. Do you want to see the fight, and will you order it?
I want to see the fight, and I will order it.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
okay, well,
So
YG,
that's
well,
That's $500 off back right there.
YG,
Well,
YG,
YG, can I say something, doctor? Let me just say something. YG, I see what you're saying. There's no doubt that everybody's gonna watch the fight. I'm not questioning that. But let's be realistic here and let's be rational here. There's no way in hell that both of these guys will make a sums of $400 million for this fight. I just don't see it. They're not gonna make that type of money. Going back to my original point, if they are making $100 million each, and we all pretty much agree that Kinahan is the biggest financier behind this event, if you cut him out, do you really believe ESPN is going to step in and say, okay, we'll go ahead and cover the rest to get the event going, and
if not,
suffer a huge loss in the middle of a pandemic?
So you try to so your whole base is saying that they're gonna lose money.
They are going to lose money if they're the biggest financier. If they're willing to step in and say, okay, we'll pay Tyson Fury $100 million to fight Joshua, and then we'll, Sky, whoever, take care of the rest. You really think they're going to put it up $100 million for one fight for Tyson Fury and lose it all for that one fight? You really think they'll do that?
See. To me, I don't think that's a losing situation. I don't think that's a losing investment. I think anybody that in the Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua with all the straps on the line, that's not a losing investment. Unless the only way that's a losing investment, they would have to put that fight on at the same time as something else spectacular is going on. Well,
let me ask you this. Let me broaden the question a little bit. I know Rafi wanted to get in, but let me broaden the question. Let's just say this. To make the money back, right? To even break even, let's just say they have to make at least, I would say hypothetically, $440 million. That's how much they probably would need to make to recoup the amount that they're putting into the event. Roughly that. Or let's go down, maybe 300 million. Let's just say 300 million. How in the hell how are they going to make that money back if Kinahan is cut out of the equation? How are they going to do that?
How many pay-per-views would they need to sell in America? I mean,
that's a good question.
To make $300 million, how many pay-per-views would they need to sell?
At $100 a pop?
Yep.
And you think we're going to pay for that here in the United States?
You're not. Well, I am. You're not paying.
I'll pay for it, but I'm just saying though, you have to understand, boxing biggest bulk of revenue comes from the casual fans. That is a fact. Now, this was maybe on the scale of the United Kingdom, maybe, but this is not the United Kingdom. This is a different market, which is niche.
But the money might be coming from Sky and the Zone. So altogether, between Sky, the Zone, and ESPN, then they can come up with that money, and then you got Danny Kinahan's money on top of that as well. So,
well, that's what I'm saying though. But Kinahan, my point is, Kinahan is probably the biggest financier. He's probably putting a big percentage into the pot of the event. If you cut him out, where are you going to get the rest? Where are you going to recoup? Where are you going to get the rest to fill in?
That's what I'm saying. Somebody else is going to step in, and whoever steps in is going to take. Remember, in those investments, to put in the most money, that means you get the most money back in return.
All right, let's get back to the main question. After watching the documentary, should the fight happen? Yes or no?
Yeah, the fight should happen.
All right, YG, yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I think it should happen. It should go forward.
Rafi.
Well, there may be some problems with the pressure, on broadcasters for working with a guy who's bringing illegitimate money into the sport. Mm-hmm. So there may be pressure on the broadcasters not to deal with that guy. So I say the fight should happen, but there is going to be pressure on the broadcasters to remove Kinahan from any involvement with the fight.
What was it? I ain't finished, YG. So first and foremost, for those who don't know, Kinahan and MT Global, they said that he was no longer involved in the boxing. He was no longer in that company. And obviously, we know that's different now because Tyson Fury has come out and said that thanks to Daniel Kinahan, that the fight between Anthony Joshua is happening. So just putting it out there, he said he was no longer involved, but he is involved. He couldn't help, that's why that they made this Panorama documentary. Fight, Doctor, should the fight happen? Yes or no?
All right, so here's the deal. Right? So boxers have a short shelf life, and there's just no telling what could happen next. I mean, we've already seen Anthony Joshua get knocked out, right? Mm-hmm. And my personal feeling is, before it's all said and done, we're going to see Anthony Joshua get knocked out again. So if you're going to get knocked out, then it might as well be for the biggest payday of your career. And obviously, considering who's backing this fight financially, that's likely going to be the case. So purely from a financial perspective, if I'm thinking in terms of, if I'm Anthony Joshua and I'm thinking what's best for my bottom line right now, not thinking long term, then yes, the fight should happen. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna change it up. We're still basically on the situation. So you guys in the chat, my man Ned Carr, he's got yeah. So you guys in the chat put yes or no who you think the fight should happen. After watching the Panorama documentary, I personally think after seeing the documentary and trying to look at it from a casual point of view and watching that, yeah, most people will pay for car crash TV and they'll pay for anything. If they knew Mike Tyson was gonna buy Evander Holyfield, they would have paid more money, right? So people like that kind of stuff, they'll pay for it, right? Now, as this is dumped on it, I think people definitely want to see it even more. But if I was AJ's team after this situation, and if you want to put yourself in good light, because the bottom line is, I don't know how this is going to end, but it might not end good. And we want, because of our own selfish greed, we want to see the fight. But if it gets in a situation, I'm not saying it's going to happen and I want to win it, that obviously people are looking for this guy and the fight happens and all of a sudden there's a mass killing and shooting, everyone's going to be held responsible for the situation. Everyone knew that this man was involved in. And then because of these circumstances, that is proven that people know that this guy is going to be evolved and around. If I was Team AJ, I would postpone the fight if the negotiations happen and fight someone else until certain things have been cleared up to make sure that it's all clear sales. That's what I would do personally, yeah, because after this documentary is very powerful on BBC and it's obviously caught in America and Ireland and everyone's watching it. And it's as the weeks are going on, more people are going to talk about it. And as the negotiations have quiet down, everyone is sitting there thinking, what's happening next? Normally in this situation, all corporate sponsors pull out, right? Because boxing ain't got that many corporate sponsors, there's none of that. But the major promoters, their greed and interest now, they have to look at like, I want the money, but I don't want tainted money. Now they're looking at this. Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Frank Warren, what's their next move? What's their next play? Do they go ahead after seeing this documentary, or do they categorically say, I don't want to be involved in it? At this point, we don't know. But I think at this point, postponement is being wise and fight someone else. That's what I feel. We're gonna move on to earlier. We're gonna move on.
AJ, can I comment on that real quickly? Just real quickly.
I'll let you jump in. We're gonna move on. So after Danky's take, we're gonna move on to the interview with Mark Breland on Spencer and Tunde's show. The Price is Right earlier on today. He addresses the allegations of Deontay Wilder and the whole situation. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. I just want to say real quickly. You got me thinking about that now because postponement probably be best because of what's came out of this documentary, because you're risking alienating your advertisers, which that's another big bulk of revenue that you get for a fight. If they pull out, that's a huge financial loss right there. So maybe probably be best to postpone it. Let Fury and Joshua fight interim fights until this thing settles down. So that's probably would be best. I still want to see the.
How you gonna postpone something that ain't even signed yet?
Well, look, YG, you're not listen. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: if they go ahead, they risk alienating their advertisers, and their advertisers are going to say, "Well, no, we don't want nothing to do with this. We're pulling out." If they pull out, then that's your big bulk of revenue that you lose right there. So You can't put on a fight without advertisers. I don't give a damn what anybody says, especially at this magnitude.
So what? So you trying to say? So hold on, that's what I'm trying to say, Dan. Like basically, right? Because like what advertisers? Like what do you like? That don't make any sense.
It's on TV. YG, when you pay for pay-per-view, there's corporate advertisers that come along with your TV.
Yeah. So you think?
And
So,
YG, they don't. YG, if they after seeing the documentary, and you go ahead, they don't want to be involved in that stuff. No,
but this what I'm trying to say.
That's
though.
what
That's
YG, that's why the documentary was put out. Now, YG, you already put your page. We're gonna move on.
No, but EJ, what I'm trying to say is though, that's easy. If you wanna paint one guy as the bad guy, right? That's that's an easy promotion. If you're on the other side of
but YG, we're saying propose. We're saying propose. We're not saying not fight. We're saying propose. We're saying postpone. Doesn't mean not fight. Not for now. That's what we're saying. All right, let's move on.
But in boxing, if you propone like that, you
go ahead,
do
Rafi.
Okay, listen, it's late over here in the UK, so I'm cutting out. Good night, gentlemen.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, peace out.
Yeah, Rafi, before you go.
Yeah.
Before you go, like the Mark Breland situation, we brought it up, but we didn't really address it on your live. So
Mark Breland came out and he said his piece. He effectively said that Wilder's finished. He's done. He don't listen. You can't listen. But I don't want to give too much of a spoiler. I'll let you take it from there. Okay, good night.
Okay, YG. Okay,
my take is that he did the right thing and he should have spoke up earlier. But at least he's spoken up now. But he should have spoke up earlier. I agree with everything he says. He said that Wilder's crazy. He wasn't holding the water. I totally agree with what Mark Breland had to say. Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Rafi. Nice.
Good evening.
But listen, all right. So Rafi gave his take, so I'll even highlight that. So on Spencer's channel earlier on today, first interview, right? First interview by Mark Breland, very soft-spoken man, says that he's come out and said that he wasn't holding the water. JD's was holding the water. So I don't see why Wilder would accuse me of tampering the water, because I never hold the water. When I do the boxing, I do the pads, I wrap the hands, and I walk to the ring. I don't deal with holding the water. If anything, the water gets passed to him through JD's. Furthermore, he said JD's, when it came to the gloves allegation, he said JD's was in there. I was in the other room. So if anything was with the gloves, JD should know about that. Furthermore, he says Wilder's crazy. He says he doesn't listen. I told him what to do. He doesn't listen. He's undisciplined. And he said that boy, if he fights Fury again, he's gonna get his ass kicked. He also said he's been with Wilder since at Wilder's turn pro. And he said that man, what happened with him, he just got to the point where he wasn't listening. He's too ignorant, and you know, it's what happened to him. He made excuses about the costume and this, that, the other, because he didn't like the way he got beat. So that's what happened to Wilder. Then also, what he said again on the prices, right? He said about AJ and Fury. He said AJ, and this is what shocked me. This is why I was surprised. He said AJ, when AJ fights Fury, he said Fury's gonna get in his head and the fight will be over. He's got Fury beating AJ easily, because AJ, he basically saying that's what Fury does. And he's basically pointed out that with Wilder, Fury got in his head so badly that Wilder was off his game plan. So everyone said what was wrong with Wilder when he got in the thing. It was because what Fury got in his head, mentally got in his head, and he said he's going to do the same thing to AJ. Comments, please.
Yeah. Let me chime in on that. And you know, I didn't see that segment on The Price is Right with Spencer and Breland, but I do have to agree what he said here. And I've been saying this for a while back too, even before the loss. I said that ever since Wilder, after that first Tavera fight, Wilder completely abandoned his fundamentals and his discipline after that fight. Because after all those multi-million-dollar paydays start to roll in, you know, you got that fancy-looking girl. That's his prerogative. That's cool. But at the same time, he wasn't living the lifestyle. Didn't want to listen to anyone. He thought he could do things his way. He got away with it for such long stretches of time. But it gets to the point that all these bad habits and all these undisciplinary actions of yours is going to catch up to you. And then when they do catch up to you, you're going to go ahead and blame the entire world other than yourself. Like Sergey Kovalev, for example. I keep alluding to this point. Kovalev was on that same path before the Andre Ward fight. And people warned him about that. You need to take this seriously. You're not fighting no ordinary small super middleweight here. this guy is a beast. Andre Ward, you better take this seriously. John David Jackson, his strength and conditioning coach, was telling them. But besides the point is that Breland, I totally agree with what he said. Wilder got to own up to his actions. It's his fault that he lost to Tyson Fury. He could have beaten him if he had listened to Breland. Now, that's a difference of opinion, but he would probably fought a much better competitive fight. And then he would probably fought to where he could have earned a decision against Fury, but he didn't listen. He didn't listen to his, he didn't follow the game plan. And that he's got to own up to that. Now, as far as, him saying that Tyson Fury is going to beat AJ, well, I do agree that he'll beat him not only from a psychological standpoint, but he also will beat him physically, because I've said this too. I know a lot of people may not agree with me with this. I just don't see how AJ can cope with the style of Tyson Fury. I just don't see it. Now, will AJ have more success than Tyson than the previous Fury's opponents like Wilder, Klitschko, and Chisora? Absolutely, he's going to have more success than they do. I believe that. But AJ has never fought anyone who was taller than him, who's bigger than him, who has a longer reach than him, who's perhaps faster than him, and has better footwork, and also can switch hit. So that's a dangerous style for Joshua to cope with. And furthermore, I would say that Joshua is still, you could say he's kind of been more cautious than ever, and a little bit more gun shy than he's ever been after that first Ruiz loss. So that would also play into a factor as well going into their fight. So I'm going to favor Tyson Fury to beat Joshua. He's going to outclass him. I'll give Joshua maybe 3 rounds in that fight, if at best, but I just don't see how Joshua beats this guy. I just don't see it. I agree with Breland 100%.
Yeah, that's my take on it too. Even though Joshua did fight Brazil's taller than him, but the Tyson Fury thing, yeah, like to be honest, Wilder's best chance was to beat him the first fight when he didn't have. He didn't have the right amount of training camps. Joshua missed his opportunity too, because at this point, like if the COVID didn't slow him up and he don't fall out of shape from an activity or he starts partying, then the only way one of these guys is going to beat him is either catch him with a good shot or he just have an off night. Other than that, Tyson Fury is going to beat all these heavyweights.
Fight Doctor.
So you have to ask yourself a question, right? Now, boxing isn't always about who has the better skills. And there are these things that we call intangibles. So if we start asking certain questions, like who is more mentally stable? Who lives the fighter's lifestyle? Remember, Bernard Hopkins wasn't the most physically gifted guy. He wasn't. What he was the most disciplined guy. Between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, who's more disciplined? Right? Who's living the fighter's lifestyle between fights? Who's more mentally stable? I think these things play a factor. So I could definitely see Tyson Fury winning the fight, but I don't see him outclassing Anthony Joshua. If Tyson Fury wins the fight, I think it will be a close competitive fight. Now, having said that, I think Tyson Fury would obviously have to be the favorite because, well, 1, he's undefeated. 2, we've seen him get up off the canvas and win. We've seen him do that. We've seen him deal with adversity in the ring against arguably the hardest puncher the heavyweight division has ever seen. We haven't seen Anthony Joshua do that. Now, at the same time, Tyson Fury isn't the biggest puncher in the world. Yeah, we saw him knock out Deontay Wilder, but I'm beginning to think that there was something going on with that left glove, to be completely honest. Okay, and look, I'm not one who readily and easily submits to conspiracy theories, but after having looked closely and seen what was going on, first of all, this guy is not above cheating. All right, he's not. The guy's been caught cheating before, and as far as I'm concerned, especially with the company he keeps and the amount of money we're talking, and with his lifestyle and just knowing who he is, it would not surprise me at all if there weren't some shenanigans going on in the Wilder rematch, and I happen to think that there were.
Wait, but
so
what didn't Joshua come back versus Klitschko?
Yeah, he got up off the canvas and come back against Klitschko. Yeah, so Joshua has faced adversity as well. I mean, so
okay,
I
stand corrected. I stand corrected.
And Maurice as well. He got off the canvas. He got caught on his feet. He never got.
I stand corrected. All right. So.
Okay. All right. So, Jalik the leader.
What's popping? Shut up,
hey guys. Hey, what's up, Jalik? Before you go, man, I gotta say I gotta get out of here, guys. Go ahead. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Nice one, Dan, man. Nice one.
All right. Peace, man. Peace, guys.
Yeah, man. Jalik, you see the
what's popping, man?
Documentary, right?
Yeah, I seen it a couple of days ago.
All right, so what's your take on it? Do you think the fight? Do you think the fight should happen after seeing the documentary?
Should I? Do I think it's going to happen?
No,
I think it will happen. Should I can't?
Yeah. You think after seeing the documentary, AJ's team or maybe the corporate sponsors, maybe they think they're second guessing it. Should it happen? So you think that's what I'm saying?
It depends.
I mean, it will happen, but I just don't. I'm not sure it would happen next. You get me? You know what I mean? So
yeah, it depends on how they can manipulate, because they manipulate people on how they think and feel, because as a whole, people's attention span is short. So if they can manipulate the public and just change the subject and have people thinking about something else, like some other story, then people totally forget about it. And before you know it, they have press conferences and the fight will be made. Now, if they're not able to manipulate the people and they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and more people see the documentary and more people see it and start having questions, and then the media from different parts, like in Dubai and Saudi Arabia or whatever he's having it, and the U.S. picks up, because the U.S. market is probably the key to it being not shown, then it's possibility that it won't. But I don't see that happening because it's a lot of money involved. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out where was all these people at when Annie Louise and Joshua went to.
Okay, YG.
Where was these people then?
But he's not affiliated. Anthony Joshua isn't affiliated with Daniel Kinahan. Tyson Fury is.
No, I don't get what I'm saying. I'm talking about.
Isn't Eddie Hearn and Daniel Kinahan, aren't they attached somehow?
I'm talking about the people that was throwing the Arabians that was throwing the fight over there. Like, the laws and all of that over there. So for them, that's being hypocritical, because in one instance you're gonna go over there with people who's being oppressed all the time, and you'll do business with them. But you hear this guy over here, and all of a sudden you don't want to do business. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna say you don't want to do bit with people that are shady, then you gotta have that business mind state all the time. Not when.
Yeah, money makes. When certain things is about money, it just a lot of things get swept under the rug. That generates a lot of interest, which generates a lot of money, and certain things happen. Now, if it was a fight on what are the two personalities wasn't as big, then maybe it won't get involved. But this is a big heavyweight boxing, and this is like super historical fight with undisputed on the line and two big names, and so I think this fight's gonna happen.
All right, so we were just talking about Mark Breland's interview just came out, and we're talking about what he said about Wilder. He said Wilder, he don't listen to no one. He said if AJ fakes Fury, he says Fury's gonna win. He also said that he didn't tamper with no water because JD's was with that, and the hand grips, JD knows about that. So what's your take on that?
About the hand grips?
That the water, and they had the gloves and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was in the camp, so he know him more than we do. So he finally came out after all these accusations.
Yeah.
And Josh, it remains to be seen if Tyson Fury gonna beat Joshua. I don't think he'd get in Joshua's head. Like, what can he say? And I know exactly how to get in Tyson Fury head. Like, I can reverse everything that he's talking about. It wouldn't be hard at all. but it's a mind game that he plays, and I know exactly what he be doing. You can get it, but the thing about it is with Tyson Fury, he might hear talk his trash, but behind the scenes he might have a non-disclosure agreement on stuff you can't talk about. So they might be like, don't bring up that, don't bring up that. But in the back of his mind, he won't bring whatever was non-disclosure agreement, but he'll bring up other stuff because he did get caught with PDs.
You forgetting though. You forgetting that that's how he got the Wilder fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember, if you forget that, you kind of forgot that if you rewind time a little bit, that Fury was actually calling out AJ before that. That was back when AJ was just calling him jealous and stuff because he had his fight with Klitschko after that. Right. And then that's when AJ was just making fun of Fury, telling him, come down some stuff. That right there, that's when I knew that. At first I was thinking he was saying, "Oh, you gotta come down some stones," because I thought he was trying to say he wanted to beat Fury when he was at his best, right? So he was telling him come down some stones. But once he started losing weight and he never called them out after that. You didn't hear him call out Fury until after Fury. Then he started talking about fighting Fury when Fury won the title. But before that, like once on his comeback trail, he kept Fury's name out of his mouth. But when Fury was out of shape and all of that, it was all fun and games to make fun of him.
Mm-hmm. He does talk trash,
and that's another thing that I noticed about over there in England too. Like y'all was dumping on Fury for a second. Y'all ain't want nothing to do with him, and then boom, Fury said, you know what? Like I'm not even fighting over there no more. And then once he won the title, then boom, now the guy with the pig farmer want to come out. Now he's talking about having the fight with AJ over there for big money. So now y'all bringing up that the investors might be shady. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if most of this information wouldn't be being leaked through Joshua's camp, because some of them is probably starting to realize like, yo, he's gonna get his ass kicked if we fight this guy.
Did you see the documentary, YG?
Nah, I didn't get a chance to watch the whole documentary.
I recommend see it though. It's deeper than it's deep, bro.
Like, it is, but if for all of that, just cut. Look, this is what I'm saying, right? For all of that, they could just cut that guy out of the deal. But the situation is he's the one that's putting up the most money because you got a lot of motherfuckers that want to keep their hands in their pocket, but want their hands in other people's pocket. Yeah. We were just like that's why it was so strange because they like, yo, that's weird that this company is not coming in for the 25% like everybody else do. Well, I'm like, yo, damn, he's over there. He's letting his boxers live because they don't really need that money. Like, no, they shady over there. They not shady. So I guess for the one company that don't want to take the extra money that keeps boxers broke, because if you look, if we did the math, if they was to come in for that money that they entitled to, like that's leaving the box with basically nothing.
Yeah, that's how business is. It's almost monopolizing, and that's how business works. It's like, say if you own dealerships, right? And you got some rival dealerships, they paying their sales reps, just say $50,000 a year, but you come up with a dealership and you pay them $75,000, $80,000. Everybody gonna quit that other dealership, and those other dealerships probably gonna go out of business because you paying them way more money. So that's probably what it looks like is happening with MTK Global. They paying them much more money, and the fighters is already not making as much with all the taxes and all the fees and the sanctioning fees and all that stuff they got to pay. Then that's why they able to get away with a lot of things that they're doing. So they got a lot of money behind them. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I don't know if they treating them good or they giving them. I don't know, man. EJ probably can answer that one.
Yeah, speaking of the sanction fees, did y'all know that the IBF is still yet to give Charlo the belt because they said they look at that fight with Rosario was fixed?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I think it was a real knockout. Well, I think Homeboy was really hurt. He probably was tired and didn't think he could win, but
that fight
got up.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that fight were fixed. I mean, that's just the way boxing operates. Been going. Look, Aaron has been fixing fights. Don King been fixing fights for years and years and years. So that's par for the course. That's boxing.
Because he actually hurt. If you look at that fight, bro, right before he hurt Charlo. Charlo just got a chin and he just persevered, and he came back and hit dude back. I think it was, homeboy probably could have continued more, and he could have acted. It looked like Oscar De La Hoya could have gotten up with that Bernard Hopkins shot, and then it was rumblings.
If you was to ask me what fight do I think was fixed, I always point to that fight more than anything, especially since Bernard signed with his company right after that.
Exactly, and it actually was rumblings. It was actually rumblings about something fishy supposedly going on before the fight.
Hold up. Hey, I just want to point out, man. I don't know if you remember WWE, WWF back in the days, or WWE. So, in memories of the natural Butch Reed, Hacksaw Reed just passed away today.
Oh, okay.
Our condolences to Butch Reed, man. One of the pioneers for black fighters who basically put credibility. Him and Ron Simmons, the first they're not the first black tag team, but they were very credible. You know what I'm saying? So when I used to watch them, I used to like them back when they were in
rest in peace, bro,
rest in peace to WCW. So he just passed away today. So condolences to him, to his family, and long we remember. That's one of my favorite wrestlers. I love his gimmick, love the way he carried himself. So Butch Reed passed away. Rest in peace, my man.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Peace, Butch Reed, bro.
Yeah. All right. So listen, going back into it, this whole thing with the gangs. But so what we're saying is like, because I remember I used to do athletics, right? And with athletics, it's got tainted all over. Even Usain Bolt, they're trying to say they're all on drugs. Now we're trying to say in our sport now we're dealing with fixing, and this is what I'm trying to say. When you got this element of gangster, it's no look. There's obviously we know there's elements of gangsters, but it's like, okay, we don't know if fighting Canelo, is the cartels backing Canelo in certain fights that the judges go against him. I don't know about that, but what I do know, is that the Irish, they haven't made a documentary saying that this guy is going spanning, recruiting all these fighters. That's the I haven't heard of the cartel, the Mexican cartels made a boxing organization and recruiting boxers. I haven't heard that, but they have in the Irish boxing. With the MT Global, they're saying that, and they're saying they're recruiting boxers all over the world, Americans, and it's affiliated. So this stuff, this goes into the corruption that Tyson Fury is getting away, and this is probably why that none of the top media outlets are probably talking about maybe the corruption with the gloves. That's probably why, because I was wondering how come no one's picking up on this glove situation. Now, whether it is factual or not factual, how come no one picked it now? Mark Breland has knocked it away. Said Wilder's crazy, he's making excuses. So that's one. That's credible. Knocked it away. Also with the water, knocked that away. So that's fair. And he's saying AJ is probably gonna lose to Tyson Fury. Okay, fine, right? So Mark Breland's kind of knocked that on the head in terms of what he felt about the corruption. Just felt like Fury beat his ass. That's what he said. He said if you listen to, and it's true, because Wilder said after the first fight, he said I didn't listen to my trainer. My trainer told me what to go to the body. I got caught up with the fight, and I wanted to make an exciting fight. Blah blah blah. But what I'm saying is that for a long time, Wilder was getting to the point where he's making that money. He's got people in his ear, and even though Mark Breland's very respected, he wasn't respecting him no more. So he gone away from the respect of your trainer because he's earning so much money that he feels like, boy, now he feels like thing. And now he's making excuses. So that's kind of washed out in terms of, well, from certain people's point of view, that the tainted gloves, maybe certain things that wouldn't happen in the gloves and stuff like that. Maybe Wilder's making up excuses. That's what Breland says and stuff. So that's kind of not it. But the corruption going into the fight, I don't know. It's one of them ones that I wouldn't even care about if the documentary never came out. I'm being honest with you. A lot of people say they know about it, but did they care about it? Not so much. But the documentary has changed people's mind. For me, also fight doctor. Does the documentary change your mind on your perception on Tyson Fury and the situation?
I mean, not. Well, I don't know. So, here's what I think. I think that the fight has become a lot more marketable, believe it or not, with this revelation. Okay? Because look, at the end of the day, drama sells, and this is drama. I mean, this is drama. Okay, and I don't know about the rest of the world, but in this country, this type of drama, people would just eat it up. So if I'm Anthony Joshua and I'm looking to cash out, if I'm Anthony Joshua's brain trust and I'm looking to cash out, yeah, I'm making this fight. So, but it hasn't changed. Look, this fight, this revelation has just confirmed what I've always known, which is boxing is a dirty sport. It's horrendously dirty.
Did you get a chance to watch the documentary, Fight Doctor?
Yeah, I saw it, and
okay.
And my reaction to it is, I'm surprised that you're surprised, because I'm not surprised at one bit. All right,
I'm not surprised. It's just an interesting documentary to see it from over the States, because I mean we grew up in the US, so things is a little different. Like Ireland, I'm not sure how big Ireland is. It's probably like the size of like a New Jersey or something. I don't know how big Ireland is. So it's like a state. So we got states, they got whole other countries. So it's a little bit different, and we see how things maneuver over here. But it's just interesting to see it happening overseas and the impact that it's had. And it's also looking at it from other people's experience. If they actually live in Ireland and they had the effects of it, if you was at the weigh-in when somebody got shot, that's kind of like different, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like, that's some gangster shit. So, so I can see why people like, man, I don't want to do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm gonna wrap this up. Right? It's been an interesting hangout. I'm gonna have to edit a lot of things in this hangout because I think I played a lot of music, and I did put the film footage of the of the documentary. Yeah, I played the documentary on the thing, so people, because some people haven't seen it. Some people ain't seen the documentary, you know, they ain't seen it. So I'm sure, like, you know, maybe BBC might come for me after. So I got to edit this hangout here. But EJ Judge Brown in the case. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it right now. A hung jury. That's what I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave it as a hung jury. I haven't made a decision on the situation, but I do know this. People are talking about it and thinking about themselves going forward. Do they want to have this kind of thing lingering over their head? And I think for all cases, especially AJ style and Eddie Hearn, if I was them, I'd go find another fighter. I'd go, right now, we're making money. We don't need that unnecessary attention. Let's go elsewhere. If I was them, if they go forward with the fight and anything goes down, just understand that you was warned. Let's let you know, you was warned. Trust me, bro. You know what I mean? There's an old saying: when you play with snakes, you're gonna get bit. Don't care what the snake tells you. Help me. I remember there was a saying about a snake was trapped somewhere, and the snake was saying, "Help me, help me." And the person listened, but you're a snake. If I help, you're gonna bite me. Snake goes, "Nah, I'm not gonna bite you." Same thing people were saying about the situation. No, we should forgive him. Snake said, "Nah, I'm not gonna bite you." So the person helped the snake. So the snake got free. Snake bit him, and the guy, "Why'd you bite me for?" Well, I'm a snake. What am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? The guy died. Snake went free, and that's what it is. That's what it is.
That's a good point, EJ. And to get my closing thoughts on there, that's a hell of a point. Now, from the public perspective, if AJ pulls out of the fight, his public image will take a damage because it's going to look like he didn't want the fight and he ducked. They're not going to talk about, oh, he left it. They're going to, and when it comes down to history, so he has to be very careful on how he does it. So both of them is like stuck in a crazy situation. So if that was his plan, how's he going to do it? Is he going to say he got injured and then he's going to have to fight Usyk? It's going to be, that's a lot of things that play. That's why I say the media manipulation game, you got to just pay attention to the propaganda and what they're going to be saying. It's going to be half truths. It's all types of things that's going to be splattered out there. But I appreciate you having me on, though.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jalik. Fight Doctor. Thanks, Jalik. Last words, Fight Doctor. Last words as well.
This is crazy. You know, it's unbelievable, but believable. I'm curious to see what happens next. You know, like Larry Merchant used to say, boxing is the theater of the unexpected, and I believe that was proven true again today with this revelation. And just curious to see what happens next.
There you go, man. That's the fight doctor. Always on Rich James. Is Rick James? Yeah, Rick James status, man. Always on that case. You know about Rick
On Rick
James.
James status as always.
As always, if you don't know, slap yourself twice in the face. Because Rick James, if you don't, Rick James will. Thanks very much, fight doctor. And we're gonna leave on the note of the history.